Look, I just clicked one of the buttons. Hopefully, it's not a storage issue. I'm gonna just clip it all together, or just post this as a part two. But they are massacring and genociding the Palestinians, the Israels, right? And they're doing it in such a way that's, for lack of a better word, outside of everything I be talking about on a spiritual level, dehumanizing, right? They're very dehumanizing towards the Palestinians, and I say that to a level of, it's deeper than just some regular, like, you feel me, political or war or just like resource or territorial thing. They're like actually like moving in a like hateful, like similar to how the Hitler and the Nazis promoted the Aryan race, and they basically like the way they broke down the Jews and talked about them. It was like deeper than even racism, and it was very similar to racism. I'm just trying to figure out a certain word for what it is when you would, and it's not even anti-Semitism, even though that's what it's called when it's directed at the Jews. But I'm saying before it's directed at any particular group of people, that general energy of tearing down a group of people and being like racist and derogatory and hateful towards them, right? It's deeper than just a regular energy of oppression, right? With how the Jews are treating these Palestinians. Again, it's very similar to the Nazis is what I'm getting at. And you would expect that the group that's been as oppressed as they were, you would expect them to be a lot more empathetic, and you would think they're the last people, that's what I'm getting at, for them to not only not be empathetic and not have learned and not really show like an energy of what you would expect from someone who was abused to that scale or gone through all that horrible shit, right? That's like if a drug addict their whole life went 30 years being strung out on a drug, and then the moment they go sober, they decide, you know what I want to be? A drug dealer. Now let me go get someone fucked up and addicted on drugs for 30 years of their life after I finally just got sober in my life. That's literally how the Jews are moving. Like, what? Like that, like if you put it like that, it's like, bro, what? And I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying like that whole Israel state, Zionism, and there's lots of Jews that speak up against Zionism, right? And the Zionist Jews will literally like ostracize and reject their own Jewish people and say, y'all aren't Jewish, y'all are against Jews. Why? Because we're against genocide? So you're saying being Jewish is to be for genocide? That's a really fucked up statement. I'm not gonna hold you. No, you're just a genocidal maniac. Just like I would say that being white isn't inherently evil, or it means you're inherently any type of the things that majority of white people done, or a lot of white people done throughout history. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's still a clean slate of every being having free will and every being expressing themselves within their own energy, right? So you have to give a fair, clean slate to every single being to show you what they are within their own energy. And that's why the act of taking a group and generalizing them all is also so fucked up too, because you're not even giving a chance to this being that is its own being, not determined by its physical valuables, right? Our physical assets, our physical, you feel me? Like its physical conditions, right? Like we are the beings in the body. If you're tapped into on any type of level I'm tapped into, that's a basic principle, right? A basic principle you would move on to understand we're the soul and spirit within the body, right? But even within that being said, even if you want to believe your consciousness, you're the brain, you're the mind, you're still this thing that is not necessarily the flesh that is acting through the flesh, and almost everyone acknowledges that on some level, even if you only truly believe that you're just a brain in your body, which I would argue that even most people who claim to believe that, if they really thought it out, don't truly believe that within all their actions within life. Like most people don't actually believe they're only a brain and only a body. You just been programmed to think you believe that, and then you'll do things within your body in day-to-day life that disprove the whole idea of that and break it all down. You feel me? Like so many of the things we do, even the ways you talk. Like I can argue that most of the ways people talk show they don't believe they're really a brain and body, because just the things they say, the way they think about themselves, the way they think about life outside of that particular framework of when you talk about it. Like most people only get pulled into their programs when you talk about that particular thing. Like for example, a religious person. Most religious people are not obsessed with religion 24/7 all throughout the day, and they do things against their religion majority of the time, until it is that you bring up that religion, and then they defend the program of that religion. But they show that they don't actually believe the limiting reality of that religion, and how blasphemy and laughable and just fucking like ridiculous the religion is through their own living of life, right? You feel me? Like, for example, for lack of a better example, my sister, right? As much as they might think they're Christian, real Christians think they're gonna burn in hell, all because she chose to express herself freely within being with her girlfriend within what they do, right? And there's literally nothing wrong with expressing yourself in any form, even with what I say, right? Of how I think being with a man and woman is natural. And I think that anything deviating from that comes from an artificial reality or an unnatural reality. And I believe that almost everyone within gay or lesbian or same sex has been touched or artificially introduced or just had that in a sick or twisted way. Now, you can make reality out of something that wasn't once natural and make the best out of it, and you can make that into something. When I say that being gay isn't natural, I'm not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is, the same way the man-made foods isn't natural, but you could choose to eat all that and they exist now and they're very much real now. The natural thing, and most man-made foods arguably are made from the natural thing to even exist. The natural thing is what comes from the soil, right? But you could choose to live in an artificial reality or a reality that does not suit you, and you can exist there for a very long time within lifetimes. You can carve something out of nothing, or carve something that used to not be there that's not good for your soul, and make a path out of nothing, right? So that's what I'm saying within quote unquote gayness or quote unquote lesbian or any of that energy, right? But a real Christian would literally think that my sister's gonna burn in hell, but then my sister would think that she's a Christian. And that's what I'm trying to say, to where it's like they don't even agree on what they believe in. Like these Christians, for example, they all just try to kind of group together in this umbrella term of God, and they all think they're praying to the same God. When how could you be praying to the same God that someone like Epstein was praying to, for example, or these rich elites? They all claim to be Christian and pray to God, but their God is Satan. You can say God and not say what God you're praying to. And that's why I need to be very careful of who's saying they pray to God and who they are when they say and how powerful they are and the way they talk about it, because they can be praying to God, all right, and their God is Satan. So within that being said, that's what I was gonna tie it into. It's like you can't be praying to the same God as also people in the Vatican and the Pope, for example, the highest echelons of society, where it is that they've connected even that to high extreme levels of sex trafficking, child kidnapping, all types of horrible, foul, disgusting shit, right? So that's where you go to think of like, okay, if the most direct person connected to Christianity and religion is arguably a vessel for the most foul, disgusting shit in this planet carried through them. And then as an extension, even if you look into all the churches of the world, there's no more condensed area where child molestation and sex trafficking goes on than it is in the churches of the world, of all over the world, where it is that in the France church alone, the church in France and different churches in Europe, but particularly just France, not even branching out to another country within Europe, let alone, because it's going to rack up to the millions. Anything they're telling you is a light number. They're keeping it very, very light when they tell you, because they're reporting themselves. The people who are reporting this shit are doing it because they've been caught, so it's a force of hand, and they're reporting about themselves. So anything they tell you is a light number. So in France alone, in I think it was the year 2023, 2024, there was like over 100,000 exposed cases of child molestation, and all these different priests and preachers and different people within places of power within the France church, all exposed and all connected to this giant sex trafficking, child trafficking ring. And so my argument is that the God of Christianity literally is Satan, and that's the very force that works through this matrix and works through this system that they pray to in their churches. Like when they go to their church that's placed in the heart of their matrix and they're all praying, who do you think is sucking up all that life force, all that energy, all that attention? All that energy is going to something, and all these unknowing souls that walk into that church that they think they're praying to a cosmic creator, they're really praying to an ego dominant, masculine, oppressive energy of control within this physical reality, which is a god in its own right, but a lower entity god of control and dominance. It's the god that fuels their system. They have their own god. The god of this world, the god of the matrix, the god of this system is Father Zeus. You feel me? Is Satan. You feel me? And so within all that being said, though, to tie it all back to meat, right? Because I've gone like all over the place. I've gone in different areas within all this, right? Meat is dead flesh, and the consumption of dead flesh on every level exists outside of any effect that a man-made food can do to you, because meat isn't even food. The same way I say fruits and plants isn't food, food is particularly these man-made products made in these packages, like that box of chips right there. That's food. And the only food is, what's made in packages, but meat, just like fruits and plants, isn't food, but not in the same reality at all. It's the opposite reality of the fruits and plants, but meat is just dead bodies. Meat is actually literally just dead bodies. And because I tapped into what I tapped into, to where it's no longer speculation or belief, it's just literally true through my actual experience that we don't need to be eating any of these foods, and our whole relationship with eating and what we think our bodies need to survive is completely not what we think, and I'm a living experience of that. And not only do I not get weak or starve or do any of the realities what they told us about this food happen to me when I stop eating it, it's the complete opposite, right? I get way stronger. I start to feel really alive, way more than I ever feel eating these horrible foods. I would argue I start feeling alive for the first time when I stop eating these foods and my body starts to be clear and unclogged and unfilled with all this death and pollution and horrible shit that's drugging me from the inside out and zombifying my consciousness. It is only then that I'm then in a clear enough state to even feel who I really am, what I really am, what my body really is, right? Like, in any sense you want to look at it, even when it goes to 200 years ago, how it is that all of existence within all of life, no matter which way you want to look at it, we existed outside the environment of these cities, these houses, and having access to all these man-made foods. All the things we're eating now only existed within the past 200 years, and outside of that, what we ate always came from the soil and was directly from the soil, and you could see that all these diseases start to arise when it is that we strayed away from what came from the soil with the introduction of this artificial habitat, all within the past 200 to 300 years. So what I'm saying is, within the past 300 years, if we believe the way they told us about this planet, or just in general, just when it goes into the environment we've been placed within this system, within the concrete jungle, within cities and towns, being placed around these fast food chains, being placed around these restaurants, being placed around these grocery stores, and just being susceptible, particularly at least within the past 100 years, from 1920 to now, because that's definitely when they start to amp up the mass spraying, the mass genetic modifying, the mass changing of the food, right? Because even though in 1920 we were still eating things like meat, and there was still lots of man-made shit, it was nowhere near to the rate that it is now, and most things were minimally processed. And again, most diseases that we deal with now didn't exist. You feel me? It's just like how all these diseases started popping up after people started smoking cigarettes. And when you start smoking cigarettes, you then take it upon your being, and it becomes this deeply ingrained thing that becomes a part of you, that your whole body shifts and changes to become chemically dependent on and physically dependent on. Even though it used to be a reality where you never even knew this thing existed, let alone to even think you would need it. Same thing with the food, right? Same thing with the eating of meat, right? Same thing with a lot of these things that they taught my species to take upon after they pulled us out of nature. So within literal science and my own experience of life, it is that I see how things metamorphosize and change upon what they put within themselves and upon the environment they're within and upon what they absorb. With the examples being all types of species that literally shift, change, grow in size, evolve, adapt, and literally like change almost like completely based upon where they're at. And so if it is that we're the most impressive, intelligent beings of life on this planet, what do you think is going to happen to us when we go out and step out into nature? If it is that a pig, when it's out in nature, grows up and grows into a warthog, about 3 to 4 to 5 times bigger, it starts to grow its horns, it grows all its natural defenses. Like a pig is an artificial creation that used to never even exist, that comes from taking a warthog outside of nature and putting it in a pen and feeding it things that it was never supposed to be fed. The same way you get a dog from a wolf. So I'm saying it's very possible. Look at all these different examples of how they change animals when they take them out of nature, and the animal becomes a lot weaker, smaller, and loses a lot of its abilities and divine. Like literally, they will have weapons on their body, whole things that grow from their body that are literally like tools to survive, right? And then when they put them in a pen and they put them in a zoo, those animals will literally lose those parts of themselves, those parts of their body. The animal will shrink. The animal will be fed things that is not naturally for it to eat, right? And so all this added up within how it's affecting this animal is what's causing it to shift and change and how it appears within its appearance within the physical realm. And so my species, we are the most advanced species on this planet, and we take this to the most advanced factor. Nothing will evolve and get stronger than we will. When we step out in nature, the energy and the shift that we're going to go through is going to be legit crazy, like to a whole different level. And I'm talking about unsurveillanced, uncontrolled, free access to nature to where we can fully be out and in our nature and these healing forces, these natural nature elemental forces. When it is that we're out in nature to that level, and that's why they do so much to keep us from being out in nature on that level, that's when it is that we're going to start to really see what we really are and really see the living truth and reality of the Anunnaki gods we are, these much more advanced, stronger, higher evolved beings that we are, right? And so within all that being said, peace to the guys and goddesses of Planet Kai. I'm about to tap out. I wish y'all all the best, everyone to tune into this video. This is going to be part 2, you feel me? I'm going to post this in 2 parts. And yeah, peace to you all. I just woke up from a fucking like mini little food coma, feeling dehydrated and nasty as hell. And that's what even motivated me to get up on here and, start channeling and flowing, right? Because through my own body being a guinea pig, like fuck what anyone's talking about, like, because one person can say this about meat, one person can say that about meat, one person can say this about food, one person can say that about food, but the true reality is what actually happens as an effect of this thing. Like, fuck what people are saying about it. There's only one reality, and within that one true reality, it's whatever is actually happening as an effect and what this thing actually does. And so what that means is that the real way to find out what a food item really is by you taking that food item and seeing what it really does. And through me really doing what I do with only eating fruits and plants for extended periods of time and literally taking to action, fuck talking about it, fuck the speculation, fuck the everyone trying to figure out what the truth about all this food is. I literally do it, and that's why above everything else, outside of everything else, is why I step as hard as I step for anything I talk about within the higher nature of life, because just through my food journey alone shatters everything else we've been told about reality, and it's a breakthrough into everything else I tap into within reality, right? Because I be doing literal divine shit where it is that if I'm only eating apples and oranges and only drinking fruit juice and only eating fruits and plants literally 100% for extended periods of time, and not only am I not getting weaker, I'm actually tapping into a level of health that doesn't even exist within eating all these foods that they tell me I need to be healthy, that not only is not making me healthy, it's actually killing me, disgusting for me, poisoning me but at a rate to where it's slow enough to where I can't immediately notice, to where they can deny it, right? Because that's what all this food is doing. It's killing you. It's poisoning you, but it's doing it in such a subtle way. And I would argue it's not even subtle. It's just that it's all happening internal, and the shit that happens inside of your body, if it doesn't cause an immediate reaction, if it's not like a cut on your skin or like this horrible, immediate, disgusting thing, like a tumor that comes and appears in the body after years of toxicity, or just all these different examples of sickness, right? Then it is that we think nothing's going on in the body. But then again, we'll be getting sick every other day, throwing up. Our body will be showing all these signs of detoxing, all these signs of sickness. But then we trust the very governments, the very corporations and companies that gave us the sickness to begin with to tell us that, oh, it's just this man-made title called the flu, or it's just, and we don't even hear about the flu anymore, so it's kind of weird. And they all used to vaccinate us every single year, every single couple years for this flu, right? Another way of changing the genetics and getting us sick, because I remember when I was a child, I would only get sick after I took the flu shot. I remember I didn't have what they called the flu until I took the flu shot. Like, it's in the word. They're shooting you with the flu, dumbass. That's the flu. You're taking the flu shot. But just like COVID is certificate of vaccination ID, the 19th ever executed on the global scale. Literally, COVID, certificate of vaccination ID. COVID is the vaccine. COVID is the sickness is the vaccine. So within that being said, right, and they'll even tell you this literally by saying that they released the virus in you, but on a small scale into your system, and your body's supposed to fight it off. But within all that being, and this is what I mean by they tell you the truth. Like, they literally will tell you the truth, but they'll gaslight you and tell you it in such a quick, slyful, deceptive way, to where they'll say something like that. They'll say it so quick, and they'll say it in such a way to where you just accept it. Like, they'll just say something like that so fast and so just over your head. Oh, by the way, the vaccine puts the COVID shit in your system, and then your body's supposed to. Wait, what? What the fuck do y'all just say? Like, you feel me? Like, no one even questions these things, right? But like the flu shot and just in general, right? That shit was what was giving you the virus and giving you that sick shit. But within all that being said, the body is showing these detox symptoms all the time, right? Arguably, almost all of our sickness, outside of very specific cases of things like epilepsy, very specific cases. And even when I'm trying to think of what those cases are, it's still everything I'm thinking of, almost all of it is still a byproduct or an extension of the food. Like, for example, diabetes, cancer, a seizure, heart attack, all these different variants of sickness are all coming from the food or a form of poison. Because if you understand what I'm saying on any scale, then it's not even just about the food. Food is just a man-made title placed upon this edible medium of a container releasing toxins within you. You can eat toxins or absorb toxins in any form. It's just called food when it is that's in that particular medium of what's going into your mouth. And that's what I'm getting at by the fact that it's going into you is why it's affecting you on such a deep scale, because all these toxins that exist outside of you, all around you, before you're putting it in your mouth, it can be absorbed into, but to put it into your mouth is directly allowing it access into your being on all these different levels, all the way into the cellular level, and it's going into your organs, your body, it's seeping into your tissues, your brain. That's why they say you are what you eat, because your whole entire body is made up of what you eat. And so even though you're the soul or the consciousness or the spirit permeating through this body, within this body can only operate based on what you put in the body. Like, you're not the body, sure, but you're working through the body when you're in it. So it's like if you're driving in a car that the wheels are shitty and the steering wheel's fucked up, sure, you might not be the car, but if your car is fucked up, you're still going to be susceptible to the conditions of that car being in a, broken or fucked up condition, right? Same thing with your body, right? Even though we're the soul or the spirit or the consciousness beaming through this body, most of us are in a toxic, polluted body where it is that our bodies are operating at a scale to even be able to think at a critical thinking level, to even question life around us, to even be able to navigate this reality, to really start to question things and realize what we're within. And this is also why it is I look around the people around me and wonder why they don't even look at what I look at or think about it or even question it. There's literally a study talking about like rats, for example, right? How when they took two different rats and one of the rats is fed all the things that a rat needs to eat, and then the other rat is fed the American diet, soda, chips, tasty cakes, horrible shit, all this horrible, disgusting man-made junk, right? Now, the rat that was fed the things that it needs to eat to survive, they were navigating how fast these rats can make it out of a maze, right? Now, the regular healthy function rat did it at just a regular healthy function way. It was able to get out the maze within like 20 seconds. Boom, quick process, easy process. It's a very basic thing. It's like just a very basic drill that a regular rat. It was nothing complex. It was nothing making it like exceptionally hard. This was just like a basic drill for the rat, right? And then when you look at the rat that was fed the American diet, it wasn't even able to get out the initial room. Like it wasn't even able to really process that it was in a maze to even look around. It was like running around, like hitting the walls, like retarded. Like it was like, for lack of a better word, the rat was in a retarded state to where it was literally like unable to function. And this was from the rat eating the things we eat all the time. Like the rat was mentally paralyzed, unable to navigate its surroundings, unable to really understand what it was in. Now the grand higher importance and symbolism and meaning of that test is that through what we're putting in our body that is so toxic and disgusting, we literally are not able to even navigate the reality around us, to even be able to function through our bodies, to even be able to have the mental power, the if you want to call it brain power, the higher awareness to even look around and even feel alive enough and function enough to even look around and look at life and be like, what the fuck is this, and what the fuck is happening to us, and what the fuck am I putting in my body, and what the fuck am I doing every single day when I wake up. Like the people around me will look at me like I'm crazy because I'm one of the only ones who, when I wake up in my body, am actually looking around at life with the system we're within and looking at my body and being like, holy shit, I'm alive. Now, they don't know what I go through within my body to know why it is that I may appear to be in a stagnant state physically. Um, but y'all have no idea. So they would just judge from the outside in. Meanwhile, they would be feeding their bodies to be the workforce of a system that's literally killing nature. So if I believe anything I'm tapping into, I'm not in your world of ego and what y'all think. I'm completely against this system. And I actually truly believe my planet and nature is. And I stand on it to a point where I'm willing to let my body die if I needed to be a living boycott, an example of all of my beliefs against the system, standing with nature. Because I truly look at the system as evil and wicked and do not want to be a part of it, and want to wake up my people to retune into nature before it is that it's too late, because literally they're killing the planet on every scale. Whichever way you want to look at it, logical, physical, science, nothing to do with the spiritual. In any sense, they're killing the planet. Even if you're nowhere near as tapped into what I'm tapped into, they tell you that they're killing the planet, that on every single form and sense, right? And nature is the thing that supplies us all and gives us all, right? Nature gives us all this abundance. Nature is the source of everything that sustains our life, right? And so within everything that I'm tuned into, and because it is that I have done, like, not only is it that I'm spiritual, right? It's the fact that I've literally tapped into and felt and been in real divinity. Like, I owe it to all of life that because I've literally done real divine shit, like the shit I've tapped into, like I found out whatever it is that all religions are based on, that any mystic talks about, any person who ever tapped in within any form of what they're, because everyone has a different way to get to a divine energy. They use the medium of their particular religion, and all it is are their particular thought camp. Like a monk, for example, whatever way he gets to it, that's his own route, but he's still tapping into, at the end of it, a form of a divine energy. Now, what it is that all these people are getting at, whatever that is, I've really literally tapped into it to a scale that I owe it to anyone who's trapped into a 3D limiting reality, disconnected from life in a fear state to where they're questioning life, maybe feeling like there's no higher purpose of life. Like, I've confirmed 100% without any form of a doubt that I am not my body is what I'm getting at. That there's way higher truth within life. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like it's no longer a matter of speculation anymore, at least within my life. I don't know. I don't care how people take it from the outside looking in, but if they knew and can see my memories and can go into my mind, and that's the only thing that's splitting them from saying that what I've done is literal, real divinity, to a fact of, because, like, once we get past the point of speculating if I did it, and if it's once we all agree that I did it, then it's going to be like, okay, now we got to study it. Because fuck talking about it. Okay, so now we got to study what's happening to your body when it is that you're eating only fruits and it is that you're eating only plants. And we got to study what's happening to your body when you step out in the sun and your body starts shining and glowing like that. And we got to study what's happening to your body when it is that you're sitting by the tree and your whole body starts to, and your hair and your ether, not hair, literally starts to change and look like it's being filled with the energy in the air, that your skin, your whole body, and it's like I start gaining this higher wisdom, this higher energy, this higher consciousness, right? And so all that energy within what I literally do, as in like literally do it, and this is why I'm even willing to be so-called homeless soon and be out on the street, because everything I've tapped into within that energy literally is a reality where the deeper I go into it and the further I break away from these foods, I'm getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Every time I go and reach for these man-made foods, it's hurting me every time. It's like everything I'm doing to break away from these man-made foods at the same time, even if I wanted to eat them, it's going to hurt me either way. It's horrible for me. Like, it's really disgusting for me, right? And so what I'm saying is that everything I'm tapping into, even if I didn't want to tap into it, it's not even my choice anymore. It's the whole point of my life, and this is a much higher thing that I'm participating in for the benefit of my people and for truth and information and life on the grand scale. That's what I'm doing this all for. Much bigger than anything to do with just me, right? Because again, truth is the real reality, and within the truth and the real reality, there's one real reality that all these foods are. There's only merely lies telling you about what these foods are that are on top of what the real reality of what the foods are. And food, again, particularly being all man-made things that come in a package. Again, fruits and plants are not food. So every time I say food, know that I'm only talking about the man-made weaponry that these human beings make, right? And so the true reality is the actual real effects of what something is doing to you and the real reality of what's occurring within the one ultimate reality, right? And so within tapping into the truth in all forms, I am the beacon, I am the portal, I am the medium working through I to seek all truth in all forms and be a living carrier of that truth to spread it to the masses and be a living, walking example of that truth within my life, showing and exemplifying that truth in my literal walk within life. And so within that being said, this is why, again, I'm willing to be quote-unquote homeless and go out into nature, because I've already tapped into an energy that when I'm out in nature, I'm actually way stronger and way more alive, and it's only a state of ego and fear and comfort and limiting programs of doubt within hanging on to the last remnants of being comfortable in these houses and comfortable in this matrix that I'm holding on to this old world. But the moment I step into that higher energy, that higher path, I'm literally walking a similar path to Yeshua when he was here, and any spiritual teacher, where they walked throughout the whole planet, walked throughout the whole realm and went through all these different, it's like basically I'm going to be guided through the invisible hands that be within the cosmic forces that have always guided us life, to be led towards all these different places, situations, circumstances, people I come in contact with, areas on the realm, different energies I tap into within my whole walk throughout life. As is, I finally branch out the nest and, you feel me, get away from one of the most limiting energies in my life of peace to my mother, but for lack of hiding for anyone's feelings, it has only been limiting for me to be around beings that gaslight the true pureness within me, that only was molded into toxicity after being in a toxic environment, and makes it a point to be toxic to a toxic being to me, while it is that I'm gaslighted by everyone around me to thinking I'm wrong outside of any title, to treat a being according to the energy they give to me outside of any title, defending them to think it's okay for them to treat me that way. So within that being said, it's no animosity towards anyone around me. It's just the fact that I'm the soul in the body, and I came into this planet to be in this planet, not of this body, nothing y'all think I am. I appeared in this particular vehicle, in this particular avatar, but I've always been life itself, and I came here with a much grander narrative that I've merely been fractured away from and split away from by the erasing of my memory, the bleaching of my memory, through all the poisons and the shit they injected me with when we grow up into the realm through their hospitals and through the cities and towns. outside of being born fully free out in nature, where it is that you can tune into your soul and start to remember soul memories on a much deeper scale. Most of us have our memories bleached and stuff, right? So on a soul level, when I stepped into this body, I was already coming into this realm with a mission. I already knew it was war with these bitches. I knew I was coming to fuck up the system from the inside out. Now the problem is I landed within these cities and towns that if the cities and towns wasn't here built on my nature, I would be born within nature on my planet. And that's the whole point of all this. I'm here within the cities and towns because they're here, but what's underneath this city? Nature. What do these lands belong to? A tribe of my ancestors they called the Lenape. And so, with that being said, these are very powerful lands, and this is just one of many of my